All right, guys. So, welcome everybody to the self hypnosis, and I guess we could say advanced self hypnosis as well. I always like to put advanced on the start of everything. What we're going to be going through today is complete practical, guys. We're going to break down everything you need to know just about my version of self hypnosis. There's many, many different ways to do this. There's many different ways why you would want to do this and the results you can get from this. That's all up to your discretion how you want to use this. But ideally, we have 3 stages of this training. The first one really explaining what self-hypnosis is, when you can use it, how to use it. Then we'll look at self-hypnosis and goal setting together. How can we amalgamate this to be a nice self-development process? And then the last part, which is the advanced stuff, is how do we take this idea of unconscious moments? For those with the ACH training, be very familiar with that. But unconscious moments really meaning that the unconscious mind is expressing itself. How can you do this for yourself? How can you untie your own knots? How can you break free of those old conclusions? And how can you reform new conclusions so you can, I'm going to be really corny here, get more out of life? Okay. Everyone cool with that? Everyone's happy? Okay. So actually, let me go full screen here while we're recording. Full screen. Okay, so just a hands up, who's done some sort of self-hypnosis, meditation, something like that before? So everyone's had maybe a bit of formal training or informal training. Does anyone do self-hypnosis or meditation as a daily practice? Okay, and I choose my words carefully there. Meditation, self-hypnosis, to me, you can have your own views on this. It's all really the same thing. Meditation has a different outcome or proposed action during the middle of this trance thing, whereas self-hypnosis is pretty self-explanatory. Just like we would help a client use therapy or trance to break them free of something, we're going to learn to do this for ourselves. It becomes under the old adage of all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. It is what it is, I guess. I don't agree with that fully, but it is what it is. But ideally, the goal of today's training, guys, we've got a fair bit of content to get through, is to show you how to use self-hypnosis for whatever you want to use it for, okay? We're going to do the practical exercises, but I do say this as a caveat. When I did this it was one of the first workshops I actually did many years ago. We went through the self-hypnosis thing, and some people are really susceptible to the process I'm going to teach you, and she fell off her chair. All I heard was a loud bang on camera and a bit of a scream. She got up laughing. It was fine. So just be aware, if we go through the exercises, please make sure you're seated. If you've got a seatbelt, put that on. If you're on a bed, lay down, whatever you want to do. Do not stand up and do this. Do not do this while you're driving. Do not do this where you can't look after yourself. Is that cool with everybody? Okay, I can't look after you, so just look after yourselves. If you fall over, I probably will laugh at you because I did warn you. Okay. All right. So look, let's get into, let me get my notes so we stay on track. Okay. So let's do this a bit backwards. All right. Let's give this a reasoning before we actually get into how to actually do this and what it's all about. Has everyone got a notepad and pen, or can grab one pretty quickly? Okay. So the reason this is most people are going to use self-hypnosis as a way to maybe visualize their goals, or self-hypnosis to install a goal unconsciously. We'll look at both ways where we can install the goal unconsciously, or use the ACH process for self-hypnosis to untie the knots and put the goal on top of it, whatever you want to do. What I want you to do is, let's write down 3. Who has 3 goals, whether it's like a health goal, love goal, money goal, family goal, whatever goal? Has everyone got at least 2 or 3 goals they can write down just in a very simple sentence? Okay. Just write those down. If you get stuck, please just unmute yourself and let me know. Now, I know a lot of people think, well, Scott, when it comes to writing goals, do I have to do it in the I format? Do I have to in the present? It doesn't matter. Okay. There are so many rules to writing a goal. Just write it down, because your mind's going to be sharp enough and smart enough to interpret what it really wants. Okay. And keep the goal logical. If the goal is, I want to become 7'5", but you're only 5'6", I can't help you with that. But it might be able to give you the attitude of someone tall where you don't care about your height anymore. So just write it down. I want to be a millionaire. I want to lose 10 kilos. I want to find the love of my life. I want to buy Scott's 100K program. Whatever you guys want to write, just write it down. Just write down 3. You know what? We'll do a bit of a share as well. So usually I'd explain why we're doing this, but let's do this part first. And I think just to keep everything nice and simple, just write the goal in the least amount of words. The I am statements, I don't really care about. Into the future statements, don't really care about. Not statements, I don't think that matters. Everyone got it? Go ahead.
That statement, Scott, do we put all 3 of our goals in that statement or just one at a time?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, so just one at a time, because we're going to use those 3 as part of their mantra or mantra, however you pronounce it, for the self-hypnosis part. Is anyone stuck on their goal? Pretty straightforward. You probably already have them anyway. If you do get stuck, just raise your hand. I'll give you another couple of minutes.
Can I just ask something just quickly, just towards the 100K while everyone's...
Sure.
So with the 100K, it helps you with the strategy call.
Of course, week 2.
Week 2. So it's not if you don't want to do the social media side, but you've got all the other things that you want to do.
Everything else, there's no point just doing the strategy call if you don't do social media, because you won't get strategy calls.
Yeah. But okay, thank you.
Just follow it as it is. So with you get the script, you get the future value deck, you get everything you need to know about sales. It's the only time I'll give a script out. All right, everyone good with that? 2 or 3 goals. Anyone want to share theirs while we're here? Might inspire other people to change theirs. Who's bold enough to share their personal life? Melanie, go for it.
Okay, so my first one is I am a millionaire. My business is thriving. My next one, I'm attracting the love of my life.
Mm-hmm.
And my last one, I am living in my dream homes.
Homes. Simultaneously, both at the same time. Perfect. You always hear like, who's heard of something called affirmations or affirmations? Who's heard of that before? It's pretty prevalent in the industry. Okay. When it comes to goals, affirmation, same thing. It doesn't really matter. Least amount of vague wording is best. You always hear the common affirmation, every day I'm getting stronger. What does that mean? If you want to become a millionaire, write it down as in I am a millionaire, I'm becoming a millionaire. Okay. Vague language, especially when it comes to the self-hypnosis part, the one thing I'm sure of, if you give the unconscious mind too much vagueness, it can do millions of different things with that. If you want to be precise to a certain extent, be precise. Does that make sense? Okay, so if I want to be a millionaire, I'm going to write it as I am a millionaire, I'm becoming a millionaire, not I am creating the energy and attraction to have abundance. It just gets ludicrous after that. Just tell yourself what you want. Does that make sense, guys? So they're perfect. Thank you. Anyone else want to share theirs? We'll see a few people still writing.
For me, it's about commitment.
Mm-hmm.
Like give 100% of myself in what I do.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. That was a lot of my goals, was just to stay completely focused and motivated, because I knew if I did that, all the tangible things would come later. It's the intangible stuff that's the hardest. Okay, you don't just become a millionaire just for the sake of it. You know, we're not one of those people unless you win the lottery or something. I don't know how people do that other than buy a ticket. But the intangible stuff's more important. Focus, commitment, motivation. If you do that, the rest will come. It's always funny to see like people that are struggling. What are their goals? I want the mansion. I want the fancy car. I want the expensive dinners. Those fancy cars cost a lot. Mansions cost a lot in taxes and land tax. So get the motivation right, get all those things, because then you have choice whether you want to make that commitment towards something, just as a side note. Does that make sense, guys? Anyone else want to share theirs? We'll get one more. Yeah, Tawny, go for it.
Okay, 3 simple ones you'll relate to. Number 1, I want to complete the 100K program 100% and literally in 6 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to find my life partner.
Mhm.
And I'd like to establish my practice at the 100K level by October.
Beautiful. Awesome. So now we've got the goal. We need to figure out what's stopping you. What's the knot? What's the conclusion you've made about that? So what I want you to do is you can write it underneath if you left space, which I should have told you to, or just write it underneath altogether. What's stopping you from having that? What are the feelings? What are the thoughts? Or what are the associations that come up when you look at that? Like, I want to be a millionaire. What's the instant reaction? It might be, I have no idea where to start, or I'm too scared to do social media. Just write something down, because this will be something worth exploring later on at the very last part of this workshop, where we look at how to use ACH for your own knots. So just write those down. If you can't think of anything, it's not a big thing. We can have the unconscious mind present it to you anyway. Sorry, guys, let me let these people into the workshop. Like I said, if you can't figure it out, we'll have a process later where we'll sort of force the unconscious mind to show you what it is. You've got to realize something about the unconscious mind while you're doing this, guys. If it doesn't want you to have that, and it doesn't think that you're ready to face the knot, so to speak, it'll block you from having that. It'll block you from finding out what the real purpose is. I always think of it like, you know, like a door in the ground that's been locked. You want to go down into the base. We want to look what's under that door, but it's locked. You can't figure out what's there. Think of the unconscious mind like that. So I used to find out myself when I was doing my own goals and stuff, there'd be some goals I'd write down that I'd just get really confused about. Or for some reason, I'd start getting really, really tired or distracted. That's the unconscious mind steering you away. Like, do not, Vinny, do not look under that door. You are not ready for the five-eyed monster that's down there. Okay, so always be aware of this thing. The unconscious mind will throw you off track. And it comes back to that thing where people say the unconscious mind is always there to serve you. No, it's not. It'll take you off track if it feels like serving you is going to hurt you further. Does that make sense, guys? That's why it represses memories. That's why it represses ideas. But we'll force the unconscious mind to change its mind. Just with ACH, it's very quick because we've got someone who can intervene. With this, we've got to intervene at the same time of staying conscious and unconscious enough at the same time to ask yourself the right questions. Just takes a little bit of practice. Everyone good with that? Does anyone want to share their knots?
That one's easy.
Yeah, that one's easy. Everyone's gone, yep, got about 50 of them per goal. Yeah. Who wants to share it? Just yell it out. What are your knots?
Feeling unworthy.
Feeling unworthy? Yep.
Money blocks.
Money blocks. Those pesky money blocks.
Your favorite.
Self-doubt.
Sorry, what's that, Crystal?
Self-doubt.
Self-doubt.
Lack of consistency for me.
Lack of consistency, yeah.
Overthinking.
Overthinking, yeah. I used to have that one too, yeah.
Going to take too much time.
Too much time. Catherine says, I don't know how. Okay, cool. All right, so what are we going to do with this? So keep that for now. Let's put this to the side. We've done the theoretical work. Okay, now let's look at the thing we call self-hypnosis. Okay, now there are many ways for us to do self-hypnosis, and I'll talk about soon how we're going to include these goals and stuff. Like I said, many ways to do self-hypnosis. There's ways you can relax yourself. You can listen to a YouTube audio. You can walk down the stairs. That's my favorite to give hell to. But I want to show you how to use your own unconscious moments, because what I think this does is when you learn to be able to find your own and feel and witness your own, it makes it easier when you go to use it with clients. Wouldn't that be pretty cool? Okay. That's why Erickson was such a genius at helping people get into trance, especially with pain control and stuff like that, because he was using it for himself. And he had such a strong relationship with that part of his mind where it was that part of the mind doing the work for him, and he just became like the backseat driver. Does that sort of make sense, guys? Okay. So I'm going to show you my way. Okay. We'll go through a couple of exercises. And once you've done this a couple of times, it's pretty simple. Okay.